Yield to the gentleman from California.
Well, Mr.
For
Speaker,
5 minutes.
Mr. Speaker, I was asking my good friend from Colorado to enter into colloquy with me, and that's okay. But I do want to say that the gentleman from Colorado and myself work in a bipartisan manner. We're both co-chairs of the Mexico-U.S. caucus. We've worked hard on that, and I would hope that the gentleman from Colorado would listen to the debate today, because I think after we listen to the debate, I understand some of the concerns that he raises. But as Mr. Bishop pointed out, the Rules Committee was very gracious to allow all the amendments from the Democrat side and the Republican side to be offered and accepted to be debated here on the floor. And so I would just urge my colleague, who we work together on numerous other issues in this Congress together, that we find today a way to come together in a bipartisan manner. And hopefully the gentleman from Colorado will listen to all the facts as they're presented. Mr. Speaker, after decades of California water being controlled by the federal government, Congress can conclude one thing: flushing water into the San Francisco Bay is not helping to recover species, and people are suffering needlessly. We are going to hear a lot from opponents about this bill, about science, and I want to start right off the bat and make one thing clear. We are supporting sound science with H.R. 1837, and we are rejecting junk science that has long been foisted on the people of California. Junk science that the federal court has labeled the unlawful work of zealots. It is important for me to impress upon the House: the opponents of 1837 do not possess scientific high ground, as they are all but certain to allege. Their experts and the activists masquerading as experts who support them have been biased from the beginning and have molded their work to produce the findings that best suit their radical agenda. We can say this with certainty, that this agenda has not improved the fish populations. If that were true, we would not be here today. Mr. Speaker, the U.S. District Court has thrown out the biological decisions used to justify the horrible regulations that cut off water supplies to families throughout California. The court's decision was a shocking indictment of the kind of government operating in America today when it comes to our environmental laws. The U.S. District Court judge said, quote, "I've never seen anything like it," unquote. He went on to say that government scientists acted like zealots and had attempted to mislead and to deceive the court into accepting junk science. These are powerful statements by the federal court and should give anyone who believes in due process, open government, and justice a cause for concern. But the band has marched on without missing a beat. And instead of disciplining these scientists, the Fish and Wildlife Service actually gave them an award for outstanding service under pressure. The arrogant disregard for public trust didn't stop there. Just yesterday, the President issued a veto threat, essentially doubling down on the dishonest smear campaign, accusing House Republicans, and I believe many Democrats, of doing just the sort of thing that his administration has been found guilty of by a federal court. Mr. Speaker, we are not ignoring the latest science in favor of special interests. We are not the people who are sending zealots into the federal court to lie in the defense of junk science. We are not the people rigging regulations to favor a small minority of special interest groups. The agenda of junk science governing the Bay Delta is indefensible. Just as the federal court had said, it's dishonest. Congress needs to ask itself, who are these people that come up with these things? Who are they? I think the Congress will be interested to find out that one of the leaders, just weeks ago, a guy by the name of Dr. Peter Glick, he spent his career trying to dry up farmland in rural communities throughout California. And in fact, he's even testified before Congress to this. But Mr. Glick is an activist. He's an activist who poses as a scientist. Just a few weeks ago, he admitted to impersonating another person and stealing information from a nonprofit. He then mingled that stolen information with a faked memo in an effort to discredit his intellectual critics. Radicals like Mr. Glick lie, and they make it their mission to destroy scientists who do not agree with their twisted, anti-human views. Meanwhile, they are used by some in this House and as an excuse to take people's water away, to take their private property rights away, to dry up farmland, and worst of all, to justify human suffering. Mr. Speaker, people in our nation's breadbasket are standing in food lines and they're getting carrots that have been imported from China. Their sacrifices have meant nothing to the environment, Mr. Speaker.
I yield an extra 30 seconds to the
Gentleman's
gentleman.
recognized for
Mr.
additional
Speaker,
30.
their sacrifices have done nothing to improve the environment. Fish populations have declined. And I think what we will prove today here in the Congress is that there is a better path forward, and 1837 provides that path forward. So I would urge my not only my Republican colleagues, but my Democrat colleagues to listen to the evidence, and I would urge them to vote for this rule so that we can move on to the debate, so that we can finally restore sanity to California's water system. And with that, Mr. Speaker, I yield back.